Hey everybody, welcome back to the Renewed Homestead. Ben and Denise here, and there's some sheep over there. The carburetor on our riding lawnmower needs to be replaced. I haven't got to it yet, so we thought, well, let's just bring the sheep and the goats on up here, and they're doing a good job eating this down for us. So the ultimate green energy and fertilizer to boot.
There you go.
Yeah, anyway, so we owe you a video about going to see Joel Salatin's place. That was it was a great weekend,
It was.
very educational. He lives in the heart of the Shenandoah Valley. If you ever get a chance, he says you can come out any day. He's like, we're all out here working. Come out, we'll show you around.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so if you get to vacation anywhere in Virginia, make sure you stop in and see him. Beautiful place.
Yes.
So, but we learned an awful lot. We went to the Rogue Food Conference. We're doing rotational grazing, farming. Much of what we learned from him online and videos and books, and Greg Judy, of course, yes, and it was just really cool to go out and actually meet him in person and see his place.
And we're going to try to wrap up, try to do this in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, this is take
15,
two.
20 minutes, yeah. So there's a lot to cover, but we want to go over just some of the highlights.
Yeah. But Amos Miller was there. He is if you don't know who he is the Amish farmer that the FDA, I think the FBI got involved.
Oh, they raided his place with weapons.
Yeah.
An Amish farmer.
Shut him down because he was basically raising food and selling it to people.
He was raising it without all the chemicals, without all the bleaching process, 100%, well, beyond organic, really, without the vaccines, without any of it.
Right. Well, and the FDA doesn't approve of not being able to approve of what you're doing, and so they shut him down, and he admitted himself. He's like, there were mistakes. He got some bad counsel and signed some papers that he probably shouldn't have. And in a nutshell, right now he is not allowed to raise meat for his own family.
Even for his family.
For his family.
Yeah.
Can't even do that until things get sorted out.
Yeah, and thankfully he's got Robert Barnes now as his attorney, so that should turn around. Robert Barnes is a phenomenal trial attorney.
Yeah.
So
things that the penalties have been reduced, and they're still working on that. But he was there, and really super nice guy.
Really nice guy.
If you don't know who he is, look into it, because the amount of government overreach in our food is disgusting, to say the least.
I think they did it to make an example.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think they went after an Amish farmer because Amish are pacifists.
Yep.
So but I think really, so there were three that really stood out to me. Let me know if not. I think Amos Miller, Tracy, who is Amos Miller's paralegal. And then Congressman Massie from Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think those three were the three that really stood out to me. And then, of course, the tour of Joel Salatin's place, which was phenomenal. Like, getting able to see, now he's got, where they're at right now, they've now got 1,000 acres. I think they started with 100. Yeah, and they've got 1,000 acres now. So, I mean, obviously on a scale that's far exceeding what we can do, but there are things that we're going to be doing now after going to Joel Salatin's, which we'll talk about. But it was cool just to see the pigs.
Is people will say, oh, this is all fine and dandy, but can it really feed the world? And the fact is, this does not save any feed costs. What it does make is a pig that is pork that is dark. It's rose colored, which indicates the iron and the carotenes, which carry the phytonutrients, which are your body's #1 immune system. The way your body's immune system works is through phytonutrients, and so these that's what's carried in the in the salad. So the salad does not actually make bulk and mass any more than for us. If all you ate was salad, you'd shrivel up and blow away. But because the pigs, but the salad makes the omega-3, omega-6 fatty acids balanced out. It makes the phytonutrients so they're clean.
And the chickens.
So I'm going to move one of these to show you how we move them. We have a little dolly here. when this replaces Cargill and Tyson and Purdue, these will be available at every Ace Hardware store in the country.
How he raises the meat birds, the layers, the cows, and do you want the funny story about the layers? That was actually quite neat.
Yeah, the chickens are all out there. They've got the big mobile chicken coop that they move
this is the layers.
Yeah. All, the egg layers, and out of the middle you see this white head kind of poke up and looking around. He's got a guard goose. Good. She runs around. The chickens go around her. No issues, but she's not one that. And sure enough, it's he's like, geese are great. He's like they don't discriminate. They hate everybody. They'll chase anybody off. They even have seen the goose chase off a bear.
That's insane.
Yeah. So guard geese. That's
a new one on us.
Yeah. He's like they'll hate bear. They'll hate foxes. They'll hate you, but they will protect your layers. So.
Well, and I don't know how you don't go to Joel Salatin's and get inspired. Right?
And not get inspired.
Get inspired. Yeah,
absolutely. And you've seen some of the bad areas that we've had on our hillside that was just clay, and he's one of the ones that said roll out hay and let the animals stomp it down and leave their let their hooves do the massaging and all that. The land that he's on, his dad bought it when they moved back to the States, and the soil was so depleted and so washed out, they had to take coffee cans, put concrete in there, and put their posts in there to hold fencing up. There was not enough dirt to do a step-in post, and they used those for years. And you go out there now, and it looks like the rolling hills and the plains that were untouched.
Beautiful.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, it was stunning. And then to see the stark contrast between the farms that are around him that are not doing regenerative. It's like Greg Judy's, right?
Yeah.
Like when we went to Greg Judy's and we were driving and got there, it's like you could see the farms that just do it conventionally, and then Greg Judy's, and we're both like, why in the world, you live next to Greg Judy or you live next to Joel Salatin, why would you not be learning from them? Yeah. Especially because they're profitable. Most farmers are not profitable.
Well, that's it. Joel Salatin goes out, in the morning and pulls up a post, lets the cows move on through. They put it back in the shape. The neighbors are out there, and they've got confined paddocks or wherever they've got their animals, and they're out there with their tractors and scooping up poop and moving it out and hauling in hay. And I don't know how you can live next to Joel and not learn something from him. But
yeah, I don't
either. They didn't. People are set in their ways. This is how it's always been done. So. And that's why we're doing it different. Yes,
and thankfully we learned about regenerative agriculture because that's what we started with. That's what we wanted to do. But really, and I really think one of our next big battles here in America is going to be the right to farm, and that's what a lot of this movement is being called. But it's the ability to raise food the way you want to, and to be able to buy food the way you want to. And I don't know if many of you are aware, and some of you may be, but there's a lot of states you can't buy raw milk. Or like here in North Carolina, you can buy it or you can sell it, but it's not for human consumption. It's for animal consumption.
For your pets.
Right, for your pets. So basically saying it's not safe, even though we've drank it for thousands of years. But they're telling people, well, you have to go through. So just to give you a quick example of chickens, they're raised in these massive chicken houses that cost, $500,000 to start, which is why most young farmers can't even get into the business anymore. And then they're raised in these confinement spaces. They're raised among their feces. They're breathing in all the feces. They're having to give them antibiotics and other chemicals to keep them healthy. Otherwise, they cannot. They won't survive. And actually, chickens could not survive in confinement until I want to say it was the 30s when they came in with fake vitamins, right? The synthetic vitamins. Yeah. That chickens couldn't survive in confinement until that point. But then, so they're taken out of that unhealthy environment. Then they're trucked across to a processing station where they, a lot of times, electrocute them to kill them. Then they feces all over themselves, and then they have to bleach, like, what was it, up to 9 times or something?
Yeah, they're dunked in a bleach bath up to 9 times.
Yes, to get all of the bad stuff off that wouldn't have been there had they not been raised in confinement in the first place. And then it's brought to your grocery store where you're eating it. and it's really unhealthy. The fat's unhealthy. The omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is off the charts, which is also unhealthy for us and creates inflammation. And so there's a lot of people that don't want this. They want pasture-raised bird. They want ruminants that are actually ruminants that are eating grass and not grain. And the U.S. government is coming in saying, no, you can't do this. And
because it's not safe.
Because it's not safe, exactly. And that was one of the reasons we went to the Rogue Food Conferences. We're like, okay, we want to start selling sheep meat. Because we can sell our sheep $250, $300 maybe.
For the animal. For
the animal, right? But if we parcel it out, we can make $800 to $1,000. It doesn't make sense to not parcel it out. And the meat's phenomenal. And we know no chemicals, no antibiotics, no vaccines, right? 100% as God intended. And so that's why we went to, okay, how do we do this? How do we make some connections and do this? And we found out some pretty cool things. One thing we found out is there is a law that's been put in place that you can raise up to 20,000 meat birds per household member without FDA or USDA. And that's us, raising them on pasture and then processing, selling the whole thing.
Don't expect a video of 40,000 birds anytime soon.
No, that's a little much. But what we will be getting into pastured poultry. And we are going to be selling our sheep meat. A lot of that goes into membership associations when you get into like ruminant animals. And we'll do a separate video on that and how that works.
We'll go into those details.
Yeah, that's too much to get into here. But, it was interesting to hear Tracy, who is his paralegal, because she's been fighting for a lot of farmers in Pennsylvania to be able to do this and for people to be able to sign up to get all of this meat. And Amos Miller's clientele, they don't want to go to the store and buy meat. They want his meat because they know how he raises it. And the USDA and the FDA is trying to shut this down. And a lot of people are thinking, well, I'm sure we'll get around it. Nothing bad's going to happen. But really quickly, if you look at what's happening in the Netherlands, it could absolutely happen here. It happened really quick in the EU, like really quick, within a few years. But 3,000 Dutch farmers are going to be forced to close down. So they're getting paid, 125% of their land value, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a voluntary basis right now.
Well, for this year, it's voluntary.
Right. Yeah. But if they don't take it this year, next year it won't be a voluntary basis.
It's a forced buyout. And then they have to agree to never raise livestock again. So I'm not sure how that's going to work for food in Europe. But.
Yeah, and their carbon footprint in the Netherlands is they're way, way, way down on the list. There's no reason to do this. And if you're thinking, well, this won't affect us, it will when there's people starving and they are begging for people for assistance.
Yeah, and they're already doing this in Tennessee. They're basically offering farmers next to nothing. I mean, the farmers are saying that swampland's going for more than what they're being offered to put in a plant it's a Ford plant, and they will build batteries for electric trucks that nobody's probably going to buy. Yeah. So it is already happening here, and it's going to get worse unless we get involved. And Tracy's fighting for a lot of these farmers for our right to farm the way we want to and the right to eat the food that we want. And more of our rights are being taken away in the name of safety. And I'm sorry, but the government has no right to tell me what I can and cannot eat. If I want to drink raw milk, or I want to eat a sheep that I have processed that has no chemicals in it and has not been taken to a USDA butcher, I have every right to do that. And that's what the right to farm is about. And we all need to get involved. And Congressman Massie, I actually didn't really know. He's a homesteader.
Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, very interesting guy, very entertaining. But,
very entertaining.
What was it? Nancy Pelosi said he was
some kind of troublemaker, but
yeah, I forget what it was.
He took that as a compliment.
Yeah, he did. But seems like a super nice guy, and
he's one of the few that's fighting for us on Capitol Hill. And so, one of the things that we can do is to write our congressmen and our senators. And a lot of people say, well, that doesn't work. It does. And, you know, it took us 4 years to pass legislation in Arizona. And we did, and we won. And it was a big battle, but it showed us what we can do when we come together.
Yeah. And as we have mentioned before, you know, our representatives down there said, you know, if they get a one-off email, it's like, okay, you know, here's somebody who just has a bug in their bonnet. But if they get multiple emails about the same subject, they start paying attention. They're like, it really does work, you know, and there's enough of us that are concerned enough, write and call. You know, you can go on, just do a Google search and whatever search engine you like to use, you know, about find my representative, and it'll tell you exactly who, you know, who's in your district and who you need to contact, and give them your phone number, call them, write them. And then right after that, I want you to go out and plant something in your garden. If you don't have a garden, plant something anyway. Plant some zucchini. You'll get sick of it, but at least it's food that you raised, and you know that, you know, it's not sprayed with any chemicals, and it will give you a great sense of accomplishment, and you have something healthy to eat.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's really about our ability to eat real food. And we've gone so far away from what real food is. I mean, 90% of the food in the store is not real food. Majority of our food, including the meat, are owned by just a few corporations.
One of the next big battles that we'll be facing, I think, in the livestock movement is MRNA. I refuse to call them vaccines because they're not vaccines. They're mRNA gene manipulation.
So support local, contact your congressman and your senator, support local, go to your local farms. I posted this to our community page on YouTube, but you can go to farmmatch.com and enter in your zip code, and it will bring up regenerative farms that are near you that you can go to and purchase meat that's raised really beyond organic, because I don't know if y'all know, but organic meats and all that, they can have vaccines and other things. So there's a lot of allowables when it comes to organic. So your best bet's going to be to find a local farm that's doing what we're doing, or what Joel Salatin's doing, or Greg Judy. Well, Greg Judy's he doesn't need to sell meat. He's making enough on his cows and his sheep,
Right.
but
yes, he sells whole animals.
Yes.
Live animals.
And a tip for you, and this is one thing we're looking at. We're selling mama and baby cow. So we're not actually going to have beef. We were planning on processing, it's not a baby, but it's the mom's baby. I mean, it's like a year old, so it's, right. Yeah.
Full grown.
But we were going to process the cow in the fall, and then we would have beef. Well, since we've decided to sell, we're not going to have that beef. So I am looking for regenerative farms, and there have been farms that I have contacted. Now, I found these. I didn't find these through Farm Match. I actually found these online, and just asked if I could tour their farm, and they actually told me no. So I'm going to tell you, if you have a farm that says they're organic beef, that says they're grass-fed, that they're raised without chemicals or vaccines, you want to tour their farm. They tell you you can't tour your farm, move on to somebody else. To me, they're hiding something.
Yep.
When we're going to start selling our pastured poultry. And when we do, people will be invited to come in and take part in the processing if they want that day. They're going to be invited in to visit the farm, because we want to show them this is how we're raising the animals. We're an open book. You can, see exactly what we're doing. So if there is a farm that you're contacting that's saying, no, we don't allow visitors to the farm, I would probably move on and find one that will let you.
Yep.
There's just too many con artists out there.
Yeah.
For all you know, they could go buy it at the store for $8 a pound and sell it for $15 a pound, right? So
that's
yeah.
true. They could.
Yep.
They could. But so the Farm Match, and take on the weekend, go to the farmers market, and some of them you gotta watch. A lot of it's stuff that's doesn't go to the grocery store; it just goes right there. So it's not necessarily a farmer that's doing it. But there are a lot of folks out there that do that, and we've made a lot of contacts with that.
A lot of great connections.
And for you, we've talked about this before. Go volunteer at somebody's farm. Talk to them if they need help with something, because if they have extra when it comes harvest time or need help harvesting, who are they going to share it with? The people that they know, the people that have come out and volunteered.
And as we've said, we would happily share if somebody came out and helped us, right?
Right. Well, it's just like when. We reached out to Permapastures Farm. They taught us how to process birds, And we were just looking for the education. They sent us home, with 5 birds, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
They shared in their bounty. I mean,
Yeah, and just like we did when we did the sheep, we had people come out for the sheep education. We sent them home with meat too. So
Yep.
that's, that's how it should be.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
You're helping us. We're gonna share, and you learn, and you build community that way, and that's a big part of it. So.
Yeah. So changes, we're going to be selling the pastured poultry. And then obviously we're doing a membership association for the sheep. But we really came away with the understanding, really, this is a battle that we're going to need to fight. And if we don't fight this battle for food, we're going to lose it. And, I believe it was Benjamin Franklin, beware of your freedoms being taken a little at a time. Our founding fathers couldn't even comprehend not being able to eat food,
right.
and raise it. I mean, their minds would be blown right now with the FDA and the USDA. So eat real food, support people that are doing things regeneratively. It's better for your health. It's better for the animal. It's better for the environment.
Well, and to that point, it's like you're thinking, well, grass-fed beef is really expensive, but if you're eating healthy, that keeps you healthy, that keeps you away from the doctor, that keeps you away from prescriptions and illnesses and all that. So is it really more expensive in the long run?
Well, and find friends. Like if you don't have a large yard or you become friends with a farm, like I know my son, he works out a lot. He does a lot of weight training. He eats a lot of chicken. And so he's moving here next year. And I'm like, okay, you buy the birds. You help us process, we'll be happy to raise your birds with our birds, right? And that might be an option for you if you want to raise some of your own meat. There might be somebody, that has some property that might allow you to, pay for some hay or do something or whatever. And they may be like, yeah, sure. It's, if it's just a sheep or something, right? So that might be an option.
Yeah. And of course, we've talked about, if you're in an HOA, there's rabbit and quail and very quiet animals, things that you can do like that.
Or there might be older people that are around your community that cannot garden anymore, but they would love to have a garden. See if they would allow you to garden on their property, and then they share in the harvest with you.
Was it M.I. Gardner? There was somebody, one of the YouTubers that we had watched for a while, where he did that. He went to a neighbor, and they didn't do anything with their backyard, and he wound up like knocking down the fence, and he was gardening both yards and just sharing the food with the property owner. And
yeah, that's a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's always, go check out Permapasture's farm on guerrilla gardening.
Yeah.
Go plant squash along the side of the highway or whatever. I don't recommend it on the side of the highway, but
Right, there are things you can do.
There are places you can grow food that, if you get really creative, you can do it. But anyway, we're deviating away. Joel Salatin, I mean, go check him out. If you don't, anybody on this channel knows who he is, but
I would think so, yeah. But he's 30 minutes from my dad, so that was great. We got to see my dad, but I remember looking at my dad, I'm like, I'd be at Joel Salatin's all the time.
Right.
Right. So yeah, but beautiful trip, really inspired us to really, we were already inspired to eat better and to try to share, but I think now we're really inspired to kind of fired up to really educate people on why this is so important. And we'll go into some health things on a different video, but there are so many people that once they got off of the food system and they started eating meat that was raised on pasture the way God intended, a lot of their health issues have gone away. Yep. So a lot of our mental health is related to diet. A lot of our physical ailments in this country, I would say probably 98% are related to diet. So when you get back on a real food diet, your health, I've seen it, I've experienced it, I know you've experienced it. So this is a fight, guys, that we need to win. We need to win this battle. If we don't, I foresee a future that's going to be a lot like the European Union and the Netherlands right now. So, and I'll put a video, Neil McCoy Ward has a whole video about what's going on in the Netherlands right now. I will link it in the description.
Yeah, take some time and watch that one.
Take some time and watch
really
it.
Good.
Exactly.
But
yeah, I know we're running long, so.
Well, yeah, and I just want to bring up too, and that's part of the reason, our channel has changed a little bit. Originally, we started recording just to show the family what we were doing out here, but we realized all the stuff that she researches and we learn, if we share that and we're helping our community be more, food secure, whether you believe it or not, if America really hits hard times and food starts getting scarce, if my neighbors are all raising their own food and in a good place, that's one less person I have to worry about. And especially for you in the city, if you've got a community growing and you can, if you're helping others, there's just less danger, things you need to watch out for. I won't go further than that, but yeah, just keep praying for each other and this world, and then we can root out some of the evil.
Yes.
So,
Amen.
yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's good. Just like I said, if you have a chance to go to Rogue Food Conference, they're all over the country. They do them every year. It was really cool to make some connections and relationships, and we're hoping to be able to interview Tracy, who is Amos Miller's paralegal. We're really hoping to interview her to kind of really go into detail of what we can do, what she's doing. And I'm going to reach out to Congressman Massie as well and see if there's a way we can interview him as well.
Yeah.
So I'll keep y'all posted on that.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? I'll bet some of the subscribers don't have a hori knife.
I bet they don't.
You know where they can get one?
Why don't you have a hori knife?
Yeah, why don't
They're
you?
amazing.
They are amazing. They pull big rocks up out of the ground without
Yes.
without bending or breaking.
Yes.
But yeah, go over to our website, renewedhomestead.com/shop, and get your hori knife and
Yep.
or
Comfrey
deodorant.
root.
Comfrey root. We just still have some comfrey root left. And
Willow rooting hormone.
willow rooting hormone. So
Yep, stuff's amazing.
it is.
So
All right. Well, if you stuck with us this long, thank you. Make sure you comment. Let us know if you've been out to Joel Salatin's, and comment if you've never even heard of him by some chance.
I can't imagine that, but
I can't either.
yeah,
but
if you haven't, look him up.
Yeah, definitely. But we've got a couple of his books, and he's just an authentic, genuine guy.
He is, yeah,
and,
super nice guy.
Yeah, it was very worth the trip. So, all right, everybody, you like you said, keep praying. Your prayers matter; they really do, and we're praying for you. So, anyway, take care, everybody. God bless. We will see you on the next video.
Bye, y'all.
Bye bye.